Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Thank you so much, so much. If you are new to my channel, you are welcome. I really appreciate all of my old subscribers. I really appreciate your support. If you actually find this video that I'm about to do helpful, please do not hesitate to hit on the like button and then subscribe and then hit on the notification bell just beside to get an update when I upload a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to actually draft a shoulder dart half bodice pattern. So I'm going to make it so easy for you that at the end of this video I really guarantee you that you're going to love it, because at the end of this video you're going to know how to actually draft a shoulder dart half bodice pattern, which you could use for any project. You could use for a blouse, you could use it for a gown. Yeah, so that's just what I'm going to be teaching you, and like I said, it's going to be really detailed. So those that already know how to sew, you should please just have patience with the newbies, because I'm really going to be detailed on this video. So let's just go straight to the point. Guys, I have my pattern paper laid out. So I have some couple of lines. So I have two, and this is for the back pattern and then this is for the front pattern. In drafting this kind of shoulder dart and bustier, there are some basic rule lines that you need to get on your pattern paper. So the first one that I have here, this is like my shoulder line. I'm going to use S, and then this is my bust line, my under bust line, and then the waist line. So I'm going to explain. The shoulder line, that is this point. The bust line, that is this point. That's where you have your nipple point, and then the under bust, this is this under bust, that's this point, and then the waistline, that is where your cut is going to be. That's the cut of your half bodice pattern, that's where it's going to be. So that's just basically what I have here. Like I said, this is the back pattern, then this is the front. And the back pattern, you make it like 1 inch or 2 inch, a little bit bigger than the front one, but I'm going to be doing the front first before I'll do the back. So I'm just going to keep the back on the side to make it easier and understandable. So in folding, in making a project like this, in folding your pattern paper, I'm just going to assume it's a fabric. I'll still treat it like it's a fabric for you to get it so clearly. You fold your fabric into 4 using your bust measurement in doing this kind of half bodice. So for this, my bust measurement is actually 36 inches. When you divide 36 into 4, you have 9 inches. You divide into 4 because you are going to have 4 pieces at the end of the day. That's 1, 2, and then the back and the front. So for beginners, for you to understand. So that's why we usually divide the measurement into 4. So for the bust, I have 9 inches. 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. So what I have here, you have 1, 2, 3. You add between 4 to 5 inches allowance to it. So that will determine how you fold your fabric. So like this, you could fold at 15 inches. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's 5 inches, between 12 and 14 inches. So it will be okay. You won't run into any problems. So the next thing I'm going to do now, like I said, for this shoulder dart pattern, what you will do for the dart part, for the top part, for the dart is wider than the down part. For the down part, you use your regular basic nipple to nipple, which is bust span measurement. You use the measurement. So that's for your regular dart, like for your princess dart and whatever. So you use that. So for the down part, I'm going to be using 4.5, which is my regular bust span measurement. So this is like my 4.5 here on my waistline. This is my 4.5 here on my under bust line, and then this is my 4.5 here on my bust line. Then when you come to the shoulder line, because it's a shoulder dart, if your shoulder measurement is 14 inches, when you divide 14 into 2, you have 7 inches. You reduce it by 1 inch. So I'm going to be measuring 6 inches. I'm going to go over that again. If your shoulder measurement is 18 inches or 18 inches, so when you divide 18 into 2, you have 9 inches. Instead of you to measure your 9 inches, in the normal shoulder measurement, you measure the 9 inches. For this shoulder that you reduce it by 1 inch. So you have you now use 8 inches. For this, my shoulder measurement is 14 inches. So I'm supposed to mark 7 inches here, but I'll reduce it by 1 inch. So I'm marking 6 inches here. Because the reason is because the dart is going to be entering a part of the neckline, and then it's going to be entering a part of the armhole line. So that's just the essence. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll use dotted lines to just make this so easy for you. So you could see from my 6 inches point, I'm just going to be coming like this. So I'm making something like a slanted curve, not really a curve, and then I'm following these lines and then connecting all of my lines together. So that's just basically what I'm doing. So I'm going to use my pattern curve to just curve it out from this top point a little bit in order for you to get it, to understand. So the next thing I'll continue with my ruler. I'm just going to curve it out straight like this. And then this point I'm coming straight because this one is straight. So you could see what I have. So I have like a slanted curve up here. I'm just going to firm it properly. So that's just the part that is a little bit curved, you understand, into my shoulder. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll come to the bust point. For this bust point, you could decide to do it 2 ways. If the person is really busty, as in from bust 40 and above or 43 and above, you could decide to come in by 1 inch. But for this, I will not come in by any inch. So I'm just going to be maintaining this my point here. This is that point. I'll maintain it. So for this point, for this under bust point, I will be making use of 2.5. So this will really give the bust a really good firm. So this is like my 2.5 here, and then here I'm coming to this point. I'm just going to explain. Then for this down part, I'm using 2 inches. Here is 2.5 and here is 2 inches. So this is like my 2-inch point here. And then for the top point, I'm using 1.5 inches for this top point. So you could use 2 inch, like I said, for bigger boobs. You could use bigger bust, sorry. You could use 2 inch. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll still make use of my dotted line to make it so clear to you. So I'm just going to be coming like this. I'm just making a slanted line to this point to come to my bust point. And then from the bust point, you could see what I'm doing. I'll be making my curve. So up to this point, so you're just going to you see what I'm doing. So you could see my curve to this point. So my curve is already formed. You see how easy it is. It is really easy. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to come down to this point now. I'll just bring it to this point so you understand. You could see what I have. So I'm just going to be connecting my lines now. So the first thing, I'll use my little ruler. So I'm just going to slant this point to this point. I'm slanting it to this point. I'll stop because I don't want it to be sharp. So I'll continue with my pattern curve. If you don't have a curve, you could improvise. So you could see what I have. You could see how beautiful it is. And then the next thing, for the down part, you just use this and then slant it to the 2-inch point down below. So this is how easy your shoulder that you can see how beautiful it is looking. That's just so easy. I hope you got it. So if you have not subscribed, so just hit on the subscribe button and then like this video as we continue. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to be taking out the full body measurement. Now you remember this point we took out 2.5 inch from this point. This side, this down point, we use 2 inch, and then this point we use 1.5. So we're going to be adding back all of our allowance, or else you get into problems if you just cut out like that. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my full shoulder measurement now, which is 14 inches. Like I told you initially, it's 14 inches, supposed to be 7 inches. So you remember the points that we took at this 1.5, so it's supposed to be 7 inches plus 1.5, which is 8.5. so this is like my 8.5, and then I'll add my seam allowance of 2 inches to the shoulder line. So this is my seam allowance. So now my shoulder line is starting, my armhole line is starting from this point. I'm just going to make a mark here, and then I'll leave it, And then for the bust line, since I did not take out any point, so I'm just going to leave the bust measurement like that, which is 36 inches. And when you have this by 36 by 4, you have 9 inches. So this is like my 9-inch point here. This is my 9-inch point. And then I'll add between 2.5 and 3 inches allowance to it. So I'm just going to add it here. So I'm just going to rule this line down now. So I'm just going to rule it down now. So you could decide to I'll use 7 inches. Yeah, it's okay. 7 inches is okay. So I'm just going to mark it like this, and then just make a slanted curve. That's for my armhole. So for my armhole, so you could decide to come in from this point like this. That's the middle point, which is on 3.5. You could come in by half an inch on this point, and then just so I could decide to, I will just do this. And then the next thing I'm going to do now for the under bust point, you remember we took out 2.5 inch from this point, so we'll add that 2.5 inch back. So my under bust measurement is actually 28 inches. So when you divide 28 into 2, you have 7 inches. When you divide 28 into 4, you have 7 inches. So this is like my 7 inches, and then my 2.5, 8, 9, that's 9.5. I add that, that's the 2 inches, this 2-inch dart point. So, and then I'll add my allowance to it now. So I'll just add 2.5 inches allowance. So I'm going to, so I have it here. So the next thing is the waist point. You remember at the waist point, that's this down point, we took out 2 inch from as the dart allowance. And then my waist measurement is actually 30 inches. When you divide 30 into 4, you have 7.5. This is my 7.5 plus 2 inches, 8.5, 9.5. So, and then you add I'll add the same 2.5 or 2-inch allowance to it. So I'm just going to be making my lines now. So I'm just going to connect this to this point, and then this to this point. So this is like basically my half bodice pattern. So you could see half bodice bustier pattern. You could see how easy it is. Like I told you, I said it's really going to be easy. So that's just like done. So for the neckline, before I cut out the neckline, for the neckline, I'm just going to take the back measurement and then place together, leaving 2-inch allowance. That's for my zipper point. So I'm just going to tape it down because I don't want it to move. I'm just going to secure it down. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out the neckline. I'll just cut a regular neckline. Before then, I'm going to be taking out my shoulder slant. So I'll measure from this armhole point. I'll just take 1 inch like this to this point, and then I'll slant it to the neckline point. So because the back and the front are together now, so it makes it really easier for me to do this. So I'm just going to do this now. I'm just going to slant out the shoulder line. That's the shoulder slope. So I'm going to cut it out. And then for the neckline, for the front and neckline, I'll just do a regular round and neckline. I'll cut both back and front together, because since this is a pattern, so you could but if you don't want to cut it out, you could decide not to cut it out, so you use it for project. But because of sake of beginners, I really don't know how to do necklines, which I have a couple of videos on my channel. I'll drop the link down. So I'm just going to go with 3.3. So that's the width of the neckline is going to be 3 inches here, and then the depth is going to be another 3 inches here. So I'm just going to take my curve like this. Like I said, I'll just do a regular round neckline. So this is just like a regular neckline. So the next thing I'm going to do now, cut the back and the front together, and then before I dart the back part for you, just to make it easier. So the back, the armhole, the back armhole and the front armhole, they are not the same. So I'm going to cut out, leaving 1 inch for the back one. Then before I cut out the back one. So this is for the front one. So I'm just going to slant it out like this. and then I'll cut out the neckline. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to separate them. So this is like my back bodice, and then this is the front bodice. So I'm going to cut out the front armhole, and then cut out my blouse as the half bodice pattern. I'm just going to cut it out now. So this is, guys, so this is like so this is the front pattern. So I'm just going to keep it on the side and then show you how to dart on the back pattern. So for the back, I'm just going to use my regular do my regular waist dart, which is I'll use my normal breast pan measurement, which is 4.5 here, 4.5, and then 4.5. One inch to this side and then 1 inch to this side. So I'm just going to connect. So I just use my so this is just like my regular waist dart, and then you open up the side. You open it from the side because of the zipper allowance. So this is on the side, and then like I said, this is the back pattern, and then this is the front pattern. So guys, you could see this is how you actually draft your shoulder dart half bodice bustier pattern. So I've now come to the end of this video. If you find this video helpful, do not hesitate to like this video. Like this video, share this video, and then comment if you have any problem regarding sewing concerning this video. Just drop your comments down in the comment section. So thank you so much for watching. Bye, and God bless you.